Hello, everybody, and how are you all this evening? You'll have to excuse my look because I was very, very busy all day today, and so was my husband. It was my 6-year-old's birthday. Well, he was six on Wednesday. So we had a party for all the class in Westport House, and it was amazing. And so I was dressed up as a clown, so I'll stick up a picture later on. And so I took off the makeup, and I am actually sitting in the dog's bed in my bedroom. And it's a bit cold outside, so nice and toasty now in my Love Heart nightgown. So I don't look very professional now with my hair undone and my makeup not done and whatever. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. I was just thinking, while I was pottering around the house, should I do a live while I'm here in the house by myself at the moment? And what would I talk to you guys about? Because I missed my last Friday's live. So what I want to talk to you about is let's see now, how would I put it? I suppose maybe losing ourselves and losing who we are amongst our peers. I think this is particularly the case when you're young, when you're very vulnerable, when you really want to be liked. Let's see what else. When you want to get in with the crowd, and all of those other reasons that we tend to change who we are to be like a person that we want to be like. So this was, say, when I was in first year. So I haven't spoke about this since then, even though it's easy to talk about it now. But when I was young at the time, I was so ashamed of this. I remember I wanted to be in with the cool gang. And so I got friendly with a particular group of people. And I liked the lads they were hanging out with. And they were always good crack. And people, I felt, respected them. Whereas actually they probably feared them maybe more than respected. But it's funny how we don't understand at that age why they're getting admired. And if we really did, would it make a difference? I don't know. It's just sad that we don't talk about all the different emotional feelings that come up and why people would have different groups and what type of person they want to be in the world and why they're being the way they are in the world. Anyways, that's going off the point. So I started hanging out with this group of people, and in doing so, I lost myself, my morals, my values, and I suppose I didn't listen to my parents then, and I made them ashamed of me. So what I did was I stole a ring from Annie Brennan's jewellers in Westport. She was on James Street. No, she wasn't. She was on Bridge Street, at the end of Bridge Street. And for a while there, she was up where Amber and Soul was. And the ring was, I think, £6.50. Anyways, I went back and I told this group of girls. And unfortunately, they wiped her whole shop. Well, a lot of the shop. And I did get reprimanded hugely for it. I think they did too. But they all told on me because that I was a ringleader. My parents definitely made me learn that lesson, not to do it again. And I come to realise what type of people it was that I was hanging out with and the person who I was becoming. And I suppose it took that really, really hard lesson for me to understand that I'm not to lose the person who I am. And that who I am was okay, and that the right people would come to me. In that, what I mean by that is that the right people coming to me is that the people who like my personality and who I am would like me for who I am, I suppose. And but before that, I heard that people could take things from different shops around the place. And I remember I stole a troll from Don McGreevy's in Westport, and again, some other people then went and robbed a good few trolls at the time. And these trolls were like, they're the ones with the hairy heads, you know. And they were maybe it was €1. No, it must have been £1 or something. And I remember thinking to myself at that time, like, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? And like, what kind of person am I turning into? So in that moment, I decided that I'm not going to be the person that they want me to be. And I don't like myself being that person. And it takes a lot of courage to branch away from a group of people that have like a fairly kind of tight enough hold on you and people that you wanted to be like. So I went to Don McGreevy. He was walking down from Cascourt one day. And I said to him that I took a troll and that I'm awful sorry and I'll never ever do it again. And you know what? I really admire Don because he said to me, don't let it stop you coming into my shop. And I'm so happy that you told me, and that he knew that this was kind of going on with different people and he was waiting for someone to take something big. And I apologised to Annie Brennan. And, you know, it left me feeling like ashamed of myself for years and that I let my parents down. And I just really disappointed in myself. And what else do I want to say about that now? I'm glad I had the courage to go against the flow and tell Don what I had to tell him. It's really hard to own your truth, and it's really hard to own up to something that you did. And although that might seem small to a good few people, but to somebody who's in first year, who's very vulnerable and who fears adults, we did back at the time anyways, I know first years of today probably a little bit different. And so it was very, very difficult to go to this adult and who had the shop and to say to him what I did. And especially when I came from a business background in the town as well. I should have known better, I suppose. I should have done this and I should have known that and should have known the other, and all the judgment that comes with that and all the people who judged me for it and everything at the time. And I know you might think it's small, but like it could have cascaded into greater things in life, you know, and I could have gone down a seriously wrong path. So I suppose I'm thankful for my parents in a way for really chastising me and going to town on me. At the time, it wasn't nice. Of course it wasn't nice. And I really honour the fact that Dawn gave me a second chance and didn't necessarily judge me, but knew that I was a good person behind it all. Because oftentimes we do things out of fear, or we do things out of being bullied, or whatever the case may be. And only now as an adult, I kind of feel that don't look at what somebody does in life. Try and see why they've done it. What's underneath all of that? You know, like what's underneath a bully? Okay, usually they've been bullied at home or bullied by somebody else. And underneath all that is fear. Sorry about that beeping, I should have put my phone on silent. Underneath that is fear. And they're scared, you know. So for all of the children out there and for people who are ending up in wrong circles, the best thing to do, I suppose, is really try to sit with yourself and see, are you happy being this person that you are being? And is it worth being a different person to blend in with the crowd, or to be the most popular one, or the good looking one, or the prettiest one, or I don't know, the macho one, or whatever way it may be, you know, because you cannot sustain that image all of your life. It's been fake and you cannot carry it on for a long time, and you end up hating yourself for it and begrudging other people, and you become a very, very angry person. And it does take a long time for you to do a U-turn. And I suppose what kind of helps us through it is for people and loved ones who believe in us and who know who we are at the core, and to stand by us when all this is happening and just give us the support and say they're being loved, or we know that this is not the person that you are. And I suppose it's easy for me to say that now as an adult. My kids are very young and I may be up against this when they are teenagers too. So it's quite difficult for parents to be dealing with teenagers when they're going through, I suppose, things like this, you know. But if I can offer up anything, it is that people are acting out and doing certain things because of what's going on underneath everything. And if you manage to get that really important moment with your child, you know, those glimpses where you know you can hear each other, like really hear each other and understand each other without any judgment. If you ever get that opportunity with your child, and just to say how much you know who they are at the core and how loved and valued that they are, and that no matter what they've done in life, that everything can always go back to just love and caring and respect that you have for each other. Because at the end of the day, guys, and parents out there, unless somebody kills somebody, and even if they did, if that was your child who ever did anything, whether small or large, they're still your child at the end of the day. And obviously, they're going to have to be reprimanded in some way, shape, or form. But if they know underneath it all and at the core that you still love them and that you will support them and be there for them, I'm not saying support what they've done wrong, but you support them in every other way and trying to find the good choices that they make in their lives and not necessarily to always be looking for the negative ones. If they tend to do a lot of negative stuff over a longer period of time, there's a book called Dale Carnegie, I think his name is, and it's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And what he says in that is that if somebody has been doing something bold all the time, whether it's a child or a teenager or whatever the case is, constantly reward the good behaviour, even if it's the tiniest thing, really, really, really reward that. And then eventually they might start doing more good things and more good things and more good things until they surpass the negative stuff and they start doing more positive stuff. And it can take a long road for this to happen. But just, I suppose, it's very easy for us to get angry. It's very easy for us to judge. It's very easy for us to act out. It's very easy for us to be embarrassed that somebody we know has done such a thing, because we want to be the perfect parent or the perfect aunt or the perfect granny or whoever it is that's your carer at that time. And there's no such thing as perfection. And there's no two people who are alike. And so even if this is your child and you think this, I would have never done that and I can't believe they'd ever do that, or my Johnny or whatever would never do that. You just never know that because you don't know who's influencing them. So I suppose the best things for us to do is to always be happy with who we are and love who we are. It starts off by loving who we are and be happy for having our health and for having nice friends, and to know that if you have plenty of people loving you, you don't have to get into these bad circles. So I'd like to know maybe your thoughts on it, and have any of you guys come up against this with your kids, or have you ever done anything like this in your youth where you stole something or broke something or robbed something, or, well, stolen and robbed are the same thing. I was thinking like robbing a car or something, but basically you've done something that you're not ashamed of. And I suppose if we let our kids know that we too are not perfect and that we too have done things like that, it's not that we're teaching them that it's okay to do it, but what we are teaching them is that we have done wrong. And the important lesson is, have we righted our wrongs? Have we turned around the clock and done better for ourselves and made amends with the people that we've hurt, or whatever the case may be? So that's basically it. I just thought I'd pop on here for a quick chat and see, have you guys ever done things in the past that you're not ashamed of, or maybe currently have done things that you're not ashamed of? Maybe some adults lately have robbed something from someplace they work, of maybe a friend or whoever it is, and feel that they're ashamed that they can't go and say to them, or that they have said it to them and that it has not been received well. It may not be received well initially because that person is hurt and they feel betrayed, or they feel that, you know, that they have placed all their trust in you. But you know something, if you do go to that person and tell them the truth, whether they believe it or not, if it is the truth, go and tell them the truth about what happened. And if you really are remorseful, then tell them that. It might take a while for them to gain the trust with you, but it takes courage, and it takes, I suppose, bravery and all of those things to come forward and say, I have done wrong and I am sorry. And I don't know why I did it, or maybe you do know why you did it and explain why you did it, or maybe you don't know how to explain and say, I don't know how to explain and I'm not sure if you can forgive me, or how can we make this right? And maybe that person might say, I can't make it right now. or I don't want to see you, or I'm angry with you, or they might get, I don't know what they might say to you. But just know they have to feel what they have to feel in that moment too, because they are dealing with whatever it is that you just said to them. And even if they said really hurtful stuff at that time, just know that that's just them reacting because they've been hurt from whatever it is that you did. And go away and leave a bit of time and think about it. And maybe a few months down the line, you guys can revisit that again and have a chat again. But there's nothing that could ever happen in life that we can't try and make right. There has been horrific stuff in life. People being murdered or killed or robbing stuff, whatever the case may be. And I know you might think, well, somebody being murdered and stuff like that, I know it's very extreme, these words coming out of my mouth, but it's just stuff I've been following lately online. I love listening to Oprah and things like that, and how people have come forward of that family and have forgiven. And it may have taken time. And their story as to why they forgive, because there's no point carrying this. Because when we carry resentment and when we carry hurt, it makes us sick. It gives us all different types of illnesses. And you know what? We're much better off if we can, somewhere in our hearts, learn to forgive and find empathy and just try and think, what would it be like if I walked in their shoes? And what is it like walking in their shoes? And why did they do the things they did? You're not going to always want to forgive somebody straight away. And you don't want to obviously justify somebody's behaviour. But if you can find it in your heart to try and think, why would they have done that? It might give you a different perspective on it. And maybe it might be a case that you might say, okay, well, I want you to come and pay it off over a period of time, or I want you to work it off over a period of time, come and work for me or whatever the case may be. I just think it's very important for us to move forward and to find forgiveness in our hearts. So let me know what you think. And I hope you have a lovely evening. Thank you so much. Goodbye.